The irony of this video is that it's about narcissistic mothers, and the other day I was actually accused of being a narcissist and told to go and seek therapy, which I found really funny because I thought about it and I was like, if I was a narcissist, I would have totally had a child and made their existence all about me, which is basically what the majority of parents do. So join me for talking about actual narcissistic mothers. Hey people, welcome back or to another video. For those of you who are new around here, I'm Jade, the childfree PT, and I'm super grateful to have you join us. So the other day I was going through Facebook and I came across this post about narcissistic mothers. And the poster was a contact of mine who is a self-love coach and femininity coach, and she just writes the most amazing content. So with her permission, I was allowed to share some of the screenshots from her piece of content. And she wrote it so well, I just couldn't help but share it with you guys. So she started with, "When Mummy Dearest was your biggest saboteur. It is one of the most isolating and painful and surreal experiences to be the daughter of a narcissistic mother. Society glorifies mothers in a way that bestows sainthood on them just because they gave birth. They exit the maternity ward synonymous with unconditional love, nurture, and self-sacrifice." And that was the piece that got me thinking, wow, let me just read the rest, because she's got it literally bang on about how society just puts a halo straight on your head as soon as you're pregnant or as soon as you've given birth, without any thought into whether that woman is actually the right fit to have a child, if that makes sense, and whether they're actually going to be a decent parent or not, or at least try and be a decent parent, I don't know. So, but what about the little girls who are terrorized behind closed doors by the woman who birthed them? They feel as if it's all their fault. Mummy's rages, the verbal and physical assaults, the emotional evisceration. Children already have a natural tendency to blame themselves and feel responsible for the misbehavior of the adults. And in the face of all these saintly representations of the mother in popular culture, the little girl receives confirmation over and over that she must be the defective one. Why else would Mummy beat her? Why else does Mummy turn into an explosive monster when no one else is around? And I just found this so sad, because how many women, grown-ass women right now, are in this predicament where they have had a mother like this, or even a female carer who raised them like this, where it's so frustrating because they will not behave in a certain way in public, or when they're around friends and family, or when they're at the school gates, or at parents' evening, or stuff like this. They will only behave in such a way when no one else is around. And it just must be so frustrating for that child to grow up in that situation, to consistently feel like they are responsible for why their parents always angry, why their mum's always moody, why they're always angry at her, and she must grow up thinking, fucking hell, like, I can't fucking please you, like, whatever I do. And this is why there are so many women out there who lack so much self-confidence and never think it's enough. Like, they work themselves to the ground in whatever business or career path they choose, because they've grown up in this environment where nothing is enough, literally. So there's more to it. It doesn't occur to this child that there might be something deeply wrong with her mother. Usually it is much, much later, after a lot of damage has already been inflicted on her self-esteem and her self-image, that the growing girl begins to notice something strange. She observes other parents' affection towards their children, even when they mess up. This is something that mystifies her. Other children mess up but get comforted and encouraged. They get held and cuddled too. What an astonishing revelation this is to the emotionally starved little girl. And it's true, because kids are gonna mess up. Whether you like it or not, or however you think you're gonna parent, your kid is not perfect. Like, it doesn't matter how well you raise a child or how well you think you do as a parent. They're gonna grow up and have their own persona. They're gonna have their own values. They're gonna have their own views, opinions, political views, sexual orientation. And it's got nothing to do with the parent. Like, this is a child in their own entity. In a moment, but it finished off with one of the most powerfully comforting but sad realizations the now adult girl can have is learning that there are others like her. It isn't just her with the difficult mother. She isn't a uniquely flawed person who deserved all the harsh and vindictive treatment. This is usually the point where the old painful narrative begins to unravel. It was never her fault. Nothing she could have done would have prevented the violence or neglect. The problem all along was with the terrorist known as Mother. And this just kind of put the cherry on the top, really, of where society will look into that situation and be like, well, it can't be the mother's fault because this mother, you know, she gave birth, she's got a halo, she's an angel, she can do no wrong. Like, oh, but her life is so hard and give her a break and all of this. And it's really, not that I'm condoning this behavior, but it must be really, really sad for that parent as well, for the mother, because they clearly need help. Whichever reason, they either can't seek it or they don't seek it. And they go on to create children and then, you know, raise them in this, like in this example of what I've just been reading through, and end up terrorizing their kids. Whether they're wary of their behavior or not is another story, but it can be really difficult to see in yourself, you know, if somebody was like that. So if a mother is a narcissist and she's been raised herself by a narcissist, she's probably going to be no different. She's not going to know any different. She's just going to be, well, this is how I was raised. This is how I'm going to raise my kids. And there's absolutely no kind of mirror to that. There's no way of seeking it and seeing it unless you grow up and question it yourself. Like, this is not normal. Like, my mum shouldn't be talking and treating me like this and terrorizing me like this. That's not fucking normal. But, you know, again, like we say in society, like, it's just, there's this sainthood of, oh no, but she's a mum, like, she can't do no wrong. She'll never do wrong. Like, she's a mum. Oh my God, she's like, you know, she's more caring and nurturing. Because you can even tell from the way society looks at child-free women, is that we look at kind of like the hard and the lacking of empathy that we are accused of on a daily basis. Like, if you have kids, you have empathy. If you don't have kids, you don't have empathy. And unfortunately, it's not as black and white as society makes it. Two of these comments which struck out to me the most in the comment section, which was fucking full of everyone like sharing all their experiences and how it's affected them as fully grown adults and even as parents themselves. So these two struck out to me the most. I experienced this growing up. Everything has to be perfect. I did everything to gain my mother's approval. Nothing I did was not and still is not good enough. Still is not good enough. When I was in primary school, I was the best student in my whole grade for our final exams. My mum didn't even say congratulations. She said, so you think you're better than everyone else because you got good grades and you could have done better if only you had tried harder. I'm not impressed. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, yeah, basically, they're just the hardest people on the planet to please. And the bottom line is, they're never going to be pleased. Whatever you present them with, it's just not going to be enough. So, but it was nice to see that there are so many people in the same, you know, in the same boat, and who had other people who understood them. And that they could then understand what happened to them as children, and, you know, how they can move through their own adult life, you know, with that knowledge of like, things aren't, you know, some things are just never good enough for your mum. She's never going to be impressed, and you can just find a way to live your life on your terms, knowing perfectly well that whatever you do is just not enough. But thank you so much for joining me in this video today. Make sure you give this video a massive thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.